Today we're looking at Legion of Superheroes Volume 2, Annual Number 2. It was published on June 23rd of 1983 with a cover date of 1983. It was written by Keith Giffen. Well, he did the plot. Paul Levitz did the script. Pencils and inks by the great Dave Gibbons of Watchmen fame.
Future superstar Dave Gibbons.
That's right. Carl Gafford is the colorist, and John Costanza is the letterer. Karen Berger is the editor. And it is, at long last, the marriage between Karate Kid and Princess Projectra. Or is she Queen Projectra at this point?
Hell if I know.
They really should have worked out some way for her to remain princess. You know, like Prince Philip.
Oh, yeah. Prince Philip.
Like he never got to be king because in that case, he wasn't like a blood descendant, I guess.
Yeah, he married into the family. He was some cousin of the Queen of England.
Fuck the monarchy, though.
This is pre-Watchmen, of course. About, Watchmen is like 85 or 86 or something. So it's a couple of years prior to that.
Mm-hmm.
Back then, Gibbons was just this nobody, you know?
Well, I mean, he was a 2000 AD guy, right?
Yeah.
And he did a lot of like Doctor Who comics and UK stuff.
Nobody really talks about the stuff that happened between UK and Watchmen superstardom. Mm-hmm. He was working at DC. He was doing Green Lantern. He did that like Superman annual.
Oh yeah, with Mongol. Maybe his first appearance.
I don't think it's his first appearance, but it's a Alan Moore.
Okay.
Superman annual, and he did this Brave and the Bold annual or anniversary issue 200. Pretty good comic.
Yeah, I don't know if I've seen that one.
I don't have that Superman annual.
I know his Green Lantern stuff pretty well, though. I think people know him for that because he was drawing it when John Stewart kind of became the main.
Wasn't Gibbons doing just like half the issue or backups? Maybe not even every month. I'm not totally sure, but I think he did it for a couple of years, like maybe literally like 2 years, 24 issues probably.
Yeah, it kind of mirrors his later output with because he like went back to Green Lantern way later, like really? Maybe in the aughts, and it's very sporadic. Like I think he wrote it consistently, but then he'd draw half of an issue and then someone else would be drawing it, and then all of a sudden 3 issues in a row he's drawing. But it was like that. Like at first he was drawing all of it back in the 80s, but then someone else seemed to be sharing drawing with him.
As a person who never read them, I thought it was like half Joe Staton and backup, like 10 pages or something by Gibbons.
Right.
And like Len Wein or somebody was writing it maybe.
Yeah, that sounds right.
But yeah, so he did that for a couple of years. He did this Brave and the Bold. He did the Superman annual. And he did this Legion annual.
Yes. I love this issue. I know you don't, but I love it.
You love this?
I do.
Wow. All right.
I love it.
I was hoping we could have a hate fest on this because it sucks.
I mean, I love it because it is so straightforward. And like, it's not what Levitz's second run is known for. It's not a lot of talking heads. It's not a lot of dragged out storylines. It's like a very simple, basic kind of throwback one and done story.
Yeah, to me it seems like, I don't know, like they said, like, hey, Dave Gibbons, what kind of Legion comic you want to draw? And he's like, I want to draw a Silver Age Legion of Superheroes comic.
Right.
And so they worked up one for him to do or something.
Yeah.
Because, that's totally what this is.
Yeah, it does feel a lot like
Like, it's not even, it's dumb because it's supposedly, according to the cover, it's the big wedding issue.
Right.
But there's about 2 pages of wedding coverage, and the rest is an adventure that Karate Kid and Princess Projectra are not even a part of.
Well, I mean, I think a lot of wedding comics are like that. There's only so much you can do with the actual wedding.
Well, yeah, but you could loop in the stars of the wedding to the adventure. You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, I think in the issue with Duo Damsel and Bouncing Boy, like the bride gets kidnapped by Starfinger or somebody. Bouncing Boy doesn't do too much, but like they're part of it, you know?
He doesn't even get to save his own bride. I always thought that was uncool.
But then I think also in the Saturn Girl Lightning Lad wedding issue, aren't they part of the fun? I can't even remember reading that, but I know I did.
Yeah, isn't that one of the treasuries?
Yeah, that's the big tabloid. The big treasury one.
Is that the one where they fight the time traveler?
It could be.
I think it's the one where they all go to fight the Time Trapper, but they make poor Tyrok stay behind just in case something happens there. He's like the guy who's stuck with monitor duty.
Yeah, they have every Legionnaire in it, but they don't use Tyrok, poor guy.
Right. They call him from his dimension. I think maybe he was even back at his island at this point or something, and he came just for that, and they make him stay.
God, what a fuck you. Jesus, I would quit.
Yeah.
Yeah, my point is that it seems like you should make the bride and groom to be maybe the star of this issue.
Yeah, fair enough.
They don't do it. The stars of this issue are Cosmic Boy, Ultra Boy, Dream Girl, and White Witch. Oh, and Starboy.
You mean in the excursion part? Because it's fashioned like a Silver Age story. It's got like a part 1 and a part 2.
What's the part 2? Like Chameleon Boy comes and helps him, right? That's all I remember.
Yeah, okay.
Kind of the rest of it. Like the plot is that on the way to the wedding of Karate Kid and Princess Projectra, this group of Legionnaires, they cross paths with Superboy arriving from the past, and they get sucked into the time stream, and they go way back in the past to the days of the Greek gods or the Roman gods or whoever.
Yeah, it's a really interesting idea that Superboy is somehow like he's ripping holes in space time that stay open at least for a couple seconds after he does it. We've never seen that before, but it seems like that would be a big hazard. Like, are spaceships falling into that all the time? Or
yeah, like you could, if you were nearby, you could easily get sucked into it. Right. But also, space is pretty big. Like if he just shows up out in the middle of space somewhere, no one's going to be around. But yeah, right. Depending on how powerful this is, yeah, it could suck in. I don't know what. Like how much does it suck in? Is it like
asteroids and artifacts from the future? And then it doesn't, for some reason, they don't end up back where he started from. They end up in a totally different place, like way further back. Presumably Superboy wasn't coming from ancient Greece.
I guess a lot of this first, maybe third, is taken up with Legionnaires showing up on Orlando for the wedding, but they don't really do anything except chit chat.
The other thing I'd say about why I like it so much is just I think the artwork carries it a long way for me. I really, really love the artwork in this, more so than I usually liked. I always like Dave Gibbons, but I think it's really exceptional here. And it's just really nice, competent, clean artwork. And I really like some of the faces he puts on some of the characters, like the way he draws Timberwolf, the way he draws Ultra Boy. Like they kind of have distinct looks.
Yeah, this Karate Kid, he looks distinct, like you said. Mm-hmm. There was a close-up of Timberwolf. There's this weird drawing where Timberwolf is kind of hovering or something.
Right.
You're right about that. I agree with you. Like he has a good interpretation of each of these as specific, distinct characters. Mm-hmm. Like he's kind of going a little Christopher Reeve here with Superboy.
Yeah. And Timberwolf looks like kind of like a meathead muscle guy, kind of big chin, big brow.
Yeah, he draws him like that. He draws the girls really like hippie. Yeah. I notice. And they're all that way. Like, I'm not sure if that's like a symptom of kind of following the Giffen layouts or something. Like it's kind of a weird body type that all the women characters have that, I don't know, it's unusual.
Yeah. And the girls aren't really as distinct, but that just, it's like that old fashioned, like all the girls have to be pretty. The guys can have more, you can make them all look different. Whereas the girls, they're all like just kind of stock pretty girls with different colored hair.
I think Dream Girl looks like shit in this comic. I hate the way he draws her. I don't like her hair. He draws her hair really strange.
The weird Farrah Fawcett thing.
I guess it's 30th century Farrah Fawcett, you know, like.
But I mean, is her hair done for the wedding? Is that what's going on? She makes some comment about.
Oh, it could be like. Does she make a comment about breaking a nail?
Right.
She does get upset when they say there's no plumbing back in ancient Greece. So she's like, we have to figure out how to get home fast.
Well, that's pretty funny though.
Yeah, and I guess because she has to poop.
Right. I'm not wiping my ass with a leaf.
Yeah.
Another really funny thing in this is Dirk having the broken jaw. I actually looked back at that issue. Like some super strong guy puts his hand around his jaw and just squashes it.
Damn.
In the issue.
They show him when they arrive, right?
Yeah. And it's just funny because he looks like mad and pouty about it or something because he can't be his usual loudmouth, braggadocious self.
Mm-hmm.
It seems very like Justice League, Giffen Justice League to me.
Yeah, it's lighthearted. It's a real simple, easy-going kind of comic. Like this is totally beach reading comic book, I guess. Right. And I guess that kind of makes sense for a summer annual.
Yeah, and a wedding issue. Those usually don't get too heavy.
But they're back in, is it Greece or Rome? They're in Greece. And they land inside of this agora, and everybody, they're like worshiping them, just like in fucking Temple of Doom or something.
What page are you on?
Oh, I'm all the way up to page 18. Oh, you want to go back?
I wanted to talk about the Ultra Boy using his vision panel.
Oh, yeah, that.
You know what I'm talking about?
The one where it's like color hold, right? And it's the same page.
I just think that's so good.
Where is that? Oh, what page is it on?
13.
Oh, it's later than I thought. Like as the way to determine where they're at in the past, they have Ultra Boy use his power to find out what the big landmarks on Earth are.
Is that Penetravision or is it different?
I don't know. But he can see over the whole planet.
Right. And he just has to describe things that he's never seen before. And Cosmic Boy has to then determine, because he is a history buff.
Yeah, why does Cosmic Boy know everything about Earth history? How does he get so into Earth history?
Because he's the time trapper?
Yeah, I guess so.
Or maybe he's, I don't know. That seems to tie into it. His love of history later leads. Anyway. And it plays in heavily in other issues. It's not just, they didn't just pull it out here. Like, it's a big part of his limited series.
Yeah, but this is way earlier than that.
Right.
I wonder how early that actually showed up.
Oh, right.
And I also wonder what makes a guy from another planet fall in love with the ancient history of Earth. And like, this is, this is ancient history now. These guys are even another 1,000 years removed from it.
Well, it is kind of the seat of the Empire. Like, even though he's from another world, his world is made up of colonists from Earth, right?
I guess so.
And Earth, it's like the center of the United Planets, right? It's the America, or the British Empire of the...
I guess it is. To me, it doesn't make sense that it should be, but I guess that's how all our media is. Huh?
Right. It shouldn't make sense, but I guess the way they retconned it later, like Invasion, it does make a certain amount of sense, because at least a ton of those humanoid members of the team, their ancestors started on Earth.
Yeah, as far as like if you asked me to guess which of the whatever Legionnaire homeworlds was the big colonist for the entire universe or whatever,
right?
Maybe the planet of like super smart people would be those ones, or the whatever else, like the planet of shapeshifters. Maybe they were explorers, also relevant to this issue,
right?
We
like to compare it to Star Trek, but it's one fundamental difference is in Star Trek they're all like completely unconnected worlds that are networking together to form the Federation. But in the Legion, a bulk of those planets are all Earth colonies. So they're already sort of naturally interrelated. It's like the expansion of a single civilization with a few outsiders, but it seems like most of them are Earth-centric planets, aren't they?
I guess so.
At least early on. They may have diversified it more later, but
yeah, I suppose a majority of them probably are. Yeah, they're either Earth or like Kryptonian or something like that, right?
Right.
But what is it about this page that you really liked and wanted to talk about? You just thought it was cool, the design. Like
I said, I love the design. I love the drawing. I love the face. I love how he looks. They don't look like any person in particular, like a real person or a celebrity, but they each look distinct. Like, he has a distinct look for each of them. And it makes them, to me, feel much realer. They're not as generic. The color hold is great, but just the whole way it's written, I think, is clever. It's a clever device, and him having to, like I said, explain. He's describing everything he's seeing for Cosmic Boy.
What is this place? A giant tower with a light at the top southeast of here, at the edge of a big harbor. Southeast, it's like Egypt or something, or North Africa.
Yeah, what the heck is that? We probably should have researched that.
Yeah, I guess so. Big harbor, southeast of Greece. Don't know.
You'll have to look into that.
Yeah. But it's kind of a Silver Age type of trope too, where it's like, oh, we see all these landmarks.
Yeah, but it's kind of a combination because the way they're doing it seems kind of more realistic. Like they actually have to have some methodology to figure out what they're doing. That's more 80s comics, like when John Byrne would have superheroes fly, but they'd have to follow the highways to figure out where they were going. Like an applied sort of logic that's usually skipped over in Silver Age comics.
But yeah, they determine that they're in ancient Greece.
2 centuries BC.
The days of the Greek gods. That's all I need to know. But they run into the actual Greek gods. They get, I guess it's Zeus zaps them with some lightning and kills them all. And then we flash back to the present of the 30th century.
Right. It's funny. This guy who is he Neptune or what's the other one?
Poseidon.
Neptune / Poseidon here. He's colored just like a Submariner. He's got the green trunks and belt.
Oh, yeah. I like this drawing of the headquarters where it's kind of, I don't know, like fisheye perspective almost, where it kind of has a bulge.
Bending out. Yeah.
And you can see some stuff down beneath it. Like to me, this is definitely like a Keith Giffen layout. Even the whole page where this stack of panels kind of overlays the bigger one in the back, the big establishing shot. He was doing that a lot in this time period. I think what Dave Gibbons adds to it is a lot more depth than Giffen would have given this drawing, where there's like little tiny people in the foreground and there's buildings like between the viewer and the headquarters and this stuff down in the pit here, which is cool.
The little people walking around, I think, adds a ton to it. You don't usually see the ground. It seems like usually the panel cuts off before you get that low, but it definitely gives you a sense of just how big this place is.
And there's a little transport ship casting a shadow against it too.
And what is that beneath? Is it like more city? Like a sub-city?
Yeah, where the Morlocks live or whatever.
Didn't we have something like that in another issue we covered recently? Like there was a city beneath.
Oh, it was in it's in Legion of Superheroes 5 years later, issue number 2. The Goofy Gophers are trying to kill Ultra Boy, and they crash through to the remains of the old city on Rimbor.
Right. Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, but that's in a lot of stuff too. Like it's in a Magnus Robot Fighter. It's in Logan's Run, kind of.
Forgive my naivete, my ignorance. Are there real world equivalents to that in Europe, or are there places that have the remnants of a previous city beneath?
I don't know. There's like the catacombs in Paris and stuff like that. There's like they always show you, or once in a while you see these pictures of the walled off subway stations in New York that are beautiful but unused. Things like that. But yeah, like a
London Underground.
Yeah, but like a whole other city with all the buildings, and like it's like the big whole like Empire State Building that's beneath the place where everybody lives at the moment. Like impossible, right? I don't know how that would happen.
It's kind of a fun idea though. Like everything's all broken down and cluttered and old fashioned. Let's just build a floor across the tallest buildings and start over.
Yeah, it's like somebody wanted to flip that city, so that they put new drywall over top of it, nailed it down real good. But this page introduces Duo Damsel and Bouncing Boy. They're on monitor duty during the wedding,
as they often are.
I guess because they're not even on the team right now; they're reservists. Right. I think they could have said, "No, we want to go to the wedding. We don't want to cover for you guys. Right. We're not members of the Legion anymore."
Did they cover the last wedding? I can't remember, but
I think they were the last wedding.
No, they married first. Right when we move into the Bronze Age, the first thing they want to do is like write out the characters they think are too silly or redundant, and they very quickly get rid of those two. And then they They give them little moments to shine every now and then in the 70s, but for the most part, they're always being sidelined. They'll get called back just to do monitor duty.
Like they can't get tie rock, so they call up Bouncing.
Yeah, exactly. So we do have, even though this kind of stands on its own, it does tie into some of the plots that Levitz was working with in the regular series. Like at the beginning, of course, we had them rehabilitating Daxam, because this is in the aftermath of the Great Darkness Saga.
Oh yeah, Daxam has been terraformed to look like Darkseid.
Right. So they're reverse terraforming it, I guess. This is Chameleon Boy and RJ coming back into the fold because they left for a while. They went to Durlia to, if I remember right, I think we weren't sure about this. We didn't agree on it, but I thought he went there to get his powers back. Like he lost his powers for a while.
Yeah, I think there's two things. I think Chameleon Boy and Brand went to Durla so that Brand could like stand trial for being whatever he is, rich guy. Like maybe on Durla they want to execute billionaires, which is logical.
It's a good idea.
But he wins his trial, I guess. He doesn't get executed, unfortunately. But in the process of that, Chameleon Boy loses his powers, but they return to Earth or return to headquarters or whatever. And then I guess at some point he goes back to regain his powers. Because I remember that issue. It's one we did where at the end, it's the one where Cosmic Boy goes crazy and he's going to kill the terrorists.
Right.
At the end of that issue, Chameleon Boy shows up and he's like, I'm back, but I don't have my powers anymore. But in this one, he explains, I'm back again and I got my powers back. And he goes through this transformation of some awesome Dave Gibbons style space beasts. I like this one, whatever this thing is. It looks like I don't know, it looks like a kaiju of some kind.
Yeah. I like the bottom middle guy.
This dude looks like a Hulk with 4 legs.
Has he ever turned into the same thing twice, ever?
I don't know. He turns into a bird all the time, I guess.
Right, but it's always a different kind of bird, right?
Yeah.
Like a 2-headed bird. Or I wonder if any writer or artist, someone by now has probably done callback animals, like used an animal he turned into in the Kurt Swan days. But most of the time, it seems like they're coming up with new stuff off the top of their head.
Yeah, I mean, that's the easy way to do it. I think it would be a good website or a good Tumblr or whatever.
Right.
Catalog everything he's turned into, you know?
Yes. Yeah, he specializes in the very specifically functional animals, like an animal that's perfect for putting out a fire, which is very similar to like, is it Jaina? Jaina and the Wonder Twins was always turning into some very specific, very functional alien for whatever disaster they were trying to stop.
Well, she turns into, what does she turn into? Just an animal, right?
Right.
But the brother turns into water.
Right. Some kind of water.
Steam, ice, water.
Right.
Very diverse set of powers there.
I think that's right. Maybe it's the other way around. But
yeah, I can't remember.
I think it's the girl becomes the... Now when I'm looking at this, I've been... I don't ask me why I started, but I decided to figure out what all the hoopla was about. So I've been watching that show everyone talks about with Brian Cox.
Oh, Succession.
It's Succession. You're right. Because I've watched all that, now when I look at RJ Brand, I'm thinking of Brian Cox's rich asshole character.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think there's no reason that RJ Brand would be nice. I think he would be a jerk. He would be an asshole.
Is he space Rupert Murdoch?
Maybe, or he's like space Koch brothers.
Yeah.
I think he maybe even Rupert Murdoch kind of has his good points. Like there's these some of these billionaires, like I don't know. I'm trying to think of like a really bad one, but I'm having trouble. I mean, they're all bad, but you know,
you're probably right. I guess he's been vilified, or I think of him as such a piece of shit. It almost sounds like Hitler had his good points.
Yeah, I think maybe Rupert Murdoch maybe has a sense of humor at the very least, but no doubt he's like an awful guy.
Right.
Koch brothers, like they're worse than Rupert Murdoch.
I guess it's Koch brother nowadays, but
no, I'm trying to think of who he would be in reality, who he ought to be. Like the really malevolent billionaire. Like there's these clowns like Bill Gates, who is kind of almost like a regular person, and then there's Elon Musk, who he's just a rich kid, and then there's Richard Branson, who is like I don't know what he is.
That's he's like who he is. He's more like Richard Branson, probably.
But is Richard Branson like bad. He's just kind of neutral, right? Like I don't think of Richard Branson as a guy who is going to like destroy the environment or shit like that, like who doesn't care about the people who run his mine and stuff like that. He's just like a tech billionaire type of guy, maybe.
Yeah, I guess it depends on how you want to look at it. He's not overtly trying to destroy the world in the way that Rupert Murdoch is. One could argue that he could be using that money that he's spending to build his joyride spaceship, to terraforming the earth. But
maybe it's because I think of like Rupert Murdoch as a media mogul or whatever. Right. But like the real bad billionaires are the energy company guys.
Yeah.
Or like Henry Ford type of guys and stuff like that. Like they're the real bad guys. Yeah. And I'm not saying that Rupert Murdoch isn't a bad guy or that Richard Branson isn't, like, even if it's accidentally being a bad guy by being a piece of shit, like doing
he doesn't get nearly as much bad press. I think he's probably fairly decent for a billionaire.
Or like Mohammed bin Sal's MBS, that guy, the Saudi Arabian guy. What is his name? MBS. Like that guy is malevolent. He's an awful person.
Right.
Maybe that's what RJ Brand ought to be characterized as. But they do have his opposite number, that Leland McCauley guy eventually. So maybe that. And he looks like Richard Branson. Maybe he's supposed to be Richard Branson.
He's a terraformer or a planet creator.
Somewhere along the line, he makes suns, but maybe he makes planets before the reboot.
He was definitely trying to re-engineer the Earth towards the end. They were trying to build a new Earth. They end up like moving the Earth from pocket Earth to the real universe.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Well, it seemed like a good idea, but I guess the universes were incompatible, kind of like antimatter, and it exploded again. But he's not Trump.
Yeah, I don't think he's Trump.
Not that.
I think Darkseid is Trump, making a planet look like him.
That is a Trump move. Darkseid seems pretty smart, though. But do you think like half the population of the universe admires Darkseid?
Probably.
Right.
Hunger dogs. And even back to the comic.
Yeah.
These guys back at headquarters determine that, or they discover that our group of Legionnaires has disappeared off the map, and a super sleuth Chameleon Boy decides to solve the mystery of where they went.
Figures it out fairly easily.
I don't think they ever figure out that it's a Superboy caused the problem. They just figure out that they went back in time because they couldn't have gone anywhere else or something like that.
It was Levitz leaving something on the table. He could have probably done something interesting with that later on. Maybe he intended to, and then they were like, you can't use them anymore.
And then back to the wedding. They've got a big carnival type of thing going on inside the castle at Orlando, and Karate Kid he's in his like wedding tuxedo, and he's wrestling with Superboy and Timberwolf and beating them.
That's what I kind of love about that character. It doesn't make any fucking sense, but the fact that he can throw Superboy around makes him a fun character.
I can get with you on that. Oh, and they're also teasing a secret that Lightning Lad and Saturn Girl have between one another, and they don't want to say anything and spoil the occasion or something like that.
It sounds like Garth does because he's a dipshit, but Saturn Girl knows better. Knows that's a faux pas.
Oh,
don't make yourself the center of attention at someone else's wedding.
Maybe Levitz and Giffen could have taken that advice too and not made a group of other Legionnaires the center of attention in the wedding issue. But back to the past, part 2, this group of Legionnaires, except for Dream Girl, are all kind of conked out, and the gods reveal themselves to Dream Girl. This is a cool drawing of Zeus on the next page.
I know a lot of artists try to avoid, going this angle, like drawing a nose from this angle, I guess is notoriously difficult, but
seems like it could be.
He does it quite often.
I mean, this is the way to draw a god character, like as if with a low point of view, like you're looking up at him.
Right.
To do it any other way would be nonsensical, would be a mistake, I think.
Yeah, especially since they're all laying on the floor.
Yeah. Dream Girl's trying to question them and find out what's going on, but then Starboy wakes up and he gets hot-headed, and then Zeus knocks him out again with the mists of Morpheus.
He's kind of whining through this whole issue, Starboy.
Oh yeah, he seems like he's upset that Dream Girl is now that she's the leader, she's not giving their relationship the attention it deserves.
I mean, it is sort of a nice change of pace in that. I mean, I think throughout their entire relationship, she's kind of written more as the alpha. Like instead of the typical, like the guy's the main thing and the girl's just kind of the hang on, but it's kind of like she is higher in the social power hierarchy or something like that. Like
she's smarter than him and she's like high up in importance on her own planet. I mean, he is too. It's like they're kind of like a power couple in a way. Like he's a motherfucking planetary champion or whatever. But yeah, his personality, it seems like maybe it's just the way he looks. To me, that makes me think this, but his personality is kind of like that of like Colossal Boy, where he's just this kind of like low key, not too interesting guy. Meanwhile, Dream Girl is like they could characterize Dream Girl as just straight up like arm candy for this big strong guy, but they flip it, and she's not just a bubble-headed bimbo. She's also some people say that she's like the second smartest person on the team. I think maybe she's not the second smartest person on the team.
What? Well, then who is?
Superboy.
You think Superboy? Oh shit!
What do you mean Super? He knows everything, and he has like a photographic memory. Maybe he's not the problem solver that Dream Girl could be, and I guess he wouldn't know 30th century science, maybe the same way that Dream Girl does. But he could learn it instantly.
Could he change the Lightning Lass's powers into anti-gravity powers?
I don't know. How did Dream Girl do it? With magic? Superboy couldn't do that. You're
science.
Right.
Scientific.
Did she use some kind of science?
Yeah, I don't. Did she use any magic? I think she's straight up scientist, man.
I just pulled Superboy out of my ass. I don't know that he's the second smartest.
Yeah, she's not as smart as Brainiac 5, but she's smart enough to make even Brainiac 5 a little jealous, I think. I think that's a theme with the way a lot of the characters react to her, because it's like she's good looking and she's smart.
She can sing, she can dance, she can act.
Mm. And see the future.
In fact, she sees the future in this issue. Actually, before I talk about the next page, this page is awesome. I love this Mount Olympus thing where it's got like stuff that looks like factories and pipes going into the mountain.
Yes.
But also the citadel or whatever on the top. It looks real cool. It's kind of flat and plain, like a Giffen drawing. And Gibbons doesn't really even do too much to it like he did with the headquarters drawing. Right. I think it still looks really good, really cool.
The bird's eye view of it on the next page also is really nice.
Oh yeah, like there's a little
got the little figures in there.
Yeah, a little control room on the top of it. But what I was going to say about her powers of seeing the future in here is like she says she can see the future. My power can foretell the future. And she tells him about how she sees doom in his future.
Right. Is it the 5-minute war?
Right. She explained, or the 1-minute war, or whatever it was. And she explains that is going to happen and reveals to us that these gods are not the actual gods. They're from Durla, they're shapeshifters. But she didn't actually see this right then, right? She already knows that, and somehow she has deduced that these guys are Durlans, right? Because she can't use her powers that way. She has to be asleep or half asleep before she sees the future. And also, this is the future that she actually knows. It's not even the future to her. It's the past.
I mean, I guess that would make sense, except she's clearly, if you look at the panel above, she's like grabbing her temple there in pain. Then on the bottom, she's holding both of her hands there with her eyes closed. She's seeing a vision. And as we've kind of discussed before, I don't know if they've ever nailed down exactly what she can and can't do, but over time, they did seem to broaden her powers quite a bit. As we've said before, like being able to anticipate a punch. And she seems to do more than just having to fall asleep and occasionally have a nightmare about the future.
But in this case, I don't think that's what's happening. Because
well, then what is she doing? What
to me, it doesn't make sense that she would spontaneously have a vision of this guy's future. I think she must have figured out that these are Durlan shapeshifters and not the actual gods. And as a way to fool this guy, she's telling him what's going to happen to get them to
like you're saying she's pretending to use her power?
Right, yeah. And also she's fooling us as readers because she's like, my power is to foretell the future. And we think she's going to use her power somehow. But she's actually just telling him what's really going to happen in the future that everybody already knows, because for her, it's actually something that happened in the past. And it's not really explained in the story. In classic Paul Levitz fashion, I think she deduced that these guys are Durlans through some action. And now, as a ploy to get them to leave Earth, she's like, hey, your planet's going to have a big, massive war. You better get out of here.
I guess that's possible, but it seems a little silly. I mean, that would make sense if she was lying. She's trying to mislead them. But why all the theatrics? Because then she first has to convince them that she can see into the future. And then, like, why wouldn't she just tell them, I'm from the future, I know this? Instead of, I'm from the future, and also I can predict the future.
I don't know.
Unless it was like some kind of intentional misdirection.
I don't know. But Dream Girl seems to think that the 5-minute war, the 1-minute war happens sometime after, 200 BC.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, one way or the other, there's kind of a cool surprint nuclear devastation happening in the background of this panel. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, looks good.
Good Dawn Star in this picture, or on this page. And this guy, this Professor Huxton, definitely, I don't know if he showed up in Adventure, but this is totally a throwback type of character. This really 60s looking scientist guy who shows up on a monitor. But also distinctly realistic in a way, like the way he has that sagging chin. You never would have really seen something like that in the Silver Age. He looks like a real dude. Yeah, I mean, like Kurt Swan kind of draws guys like this just kind of naturally. Like his default guy is like a 50-year-old guy,
older than 50, surely, right? I'm almost 50.
A 1960s 50-year-old guy. Yeah. Nowadays, this guy's like 75.
Right. We've got some classic vacuum tube prisons.
Yeah, they can't get out of them. Ultra Boy can't even break it.
And as usual, White Witch is useless. She's only memorized wedding spells.
How come she doesn't have an escape spell memorized?
Right, or some go-to ones. I can't remember. Does she use wedding spells in this? See, that would be kind of cool if you made use of it. Like, all I can do is make cakes and shoot flowers, but maybe I can stop them with it.
I don't know who it is. Is it Giffen? Uses a lot of color hold surprint stuff in this period, and it looks pretty cool. And I don't know if that's a hard effect back in these days, but it looks good, and it looks really good when they use it in Baxter paper issues. I
wonder if we're just now reaching the point where it can be done somewhat easily, so they're going nuts with it.
Yeah, like it's all over both of these pages,
right,
and throughout. Oh, Cosmic Boy uses his magnetic powers to control the computer and release them. He's a computer hacker.
There's another great Ultra Boy there ripping up the machinery. He's just looks really bulky.
He does look really beefy in both of these panels.
And I think they did kind of start drawing him that way. Like in his Who's Who entry from around this time, he looks like a He-Man figure or something. He looks twice as wide as some of the other Legionnaires.
Do you remember who drew that? I don't. Ron Friends, maybe? He might have drawn the Who's Who in the Legion entry.
Ron Friends has done DC stuff?
Yeah, I think he did a couple of Who's Who type of things. And he started drawing Superman eventually.
It is Ron Friends.
Wow, nice.
That's good.
See, I have a good memory.
You do.
I'm really surprised I remembered that. That's a deep cut to remember like who drew what Who's Who entry out of all those.
Well, when I first saw the name, I thought, oh, he knew the whole time. This is some kind of weird humble brag.
No, I thought it was in the Who's Who in the Legion, Ultra Boy.
No, he's, I don't remember who drew that. He's more of that kind of cyberpunk version of him, which we never actually get to see, unfortunately. But I kind of like him. He kind of, he doesn't have sleeves.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that's Tom Artis. Yeah, that's the Legion number 50 costume, kind of.
Kind of. I feel like I don't think he ever ended up wearing it anywhere. Maybe he wore it in 50.
I think he did. And then I think it kind of changed after that.
Yeah, it ended up more of like a thick, wrinkly jacket with long sleeves.
Yeah, I think so.
But I bought this same day. I bought 5 years later one. And I was trying to figure out what was going on, and I was really impressed with him. Like, I'm like, wow, he's turned into like some kind of weird punk rock guy. His hair is kind of spiky.
Uh-huh.
The jacket reminds me of like the punks with the, like kind of like Cliff Steele wears with the metal on it.
Yeah, like Mad Max or something. Almost.
Yeah.
But in that drawing, he's much leaner and more compact than the Ron Frenz one.
Right, for sure.
Well, he's built like Arnold Schwarzenegger in this thing, right?
It makes sense. Why would they all have like identical builds?
Mm-hmm.
And especially, they're not teenagers anymore. So
I was just thinking how in that Starlin issue, he was kind of big and bulky in that too.
Yeah. All right, page 29. Where are we on 30? Or where are we?
I'm on 30, but I don't know what happened on 29. They escaped from their tubes, I guess.
Yep.
Oh, and so like fucking Artemis or some shit tracks them down, sees them.
Oh, yeah.
It's not Artemis. Who is this one? She's like the harvest Demeter. It's Demeter finds them. And so then all the gods show up. Maybe they kill them, the legionnaires.
So she has, what is this bundle of wires?
Oh, yeah. I thought it was like a basket of crops. It's like a spool of wire.
Right. Seems kind of modern.
Yeah. I guess it's metal. He burns through it. It looks like it melts. So it's not rope.
Some kind of crazy cable. Anyway, the rest come in. Reinforcements. Yeah,
just a melee. Is this interesting at all? They just fight the gods with their legion powers.
How long has Cosmic or Starboy been doing this? It's like he has space around his hands.
Yeah, he shoots Zipatone out of his hands.
Yeah.
I've never seen him do that before.
It's kind of a cool idea.
I guess he makes... this is Artemis. He makes her bow and arrow real heavy.
Real heavy, yeah.
And then Dream Girl uses judo on Zeus and gives him a flip.
Mm-hmm.
Some hot girl tries to seduce Cosmic Boy and almost works.
Yep.
She's like, mortal, come here, mortal.
Which goddess does that?
The Aphrodite.
That's what I thought.
Or Venus. I don't know which is which. I think Venus is Roman. Aphrodite's Greek, right?
Venus is Bananarama. So, yeah, you're right. There's probably a color hold on every single page in this book.
Oh, yeah, here's the fireworks that she's using, I think, huh? Fireworks spell. Fireworks look pretty cool that the White Witch is doing here. They're kind of green and yellow and cyan color hold.
Though, kind of a strange choice to use them in this like constrained, tight little panel.
Well, it scares off Aphrodite, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
She loses her horny for Cosmic Boy.
Yeah.
But what happens? They just decide to leave, whatever, and they turn into animals and run away.
Yeah, that's kind of a weird
Silver Age type of thing. This is a Jerry Siegel type of plot development where they all turn into like cats and snakes and bats and things to escape.
Right.
Like their human bodies were too big and slow, so they turn into a snake to get away from the Legionnaires.
Also seems kind of like theatrical, like an old Hammer movie. Or old Ray Harryhausen kind of movie. Like something they could pull off. So they like, let's put some animals in here and have them run off. Yeah,
like they turn into a herd of cats. That does seem kind of horror movie almost, doesn't it? It's kind of cool, but kind of also not sure why they chose that.
Right.
But the Legionnaires still chase them. Ultra Boy's like, let's get them. Man, this is a Giffen panel. Definitely a Giffen panel with like the giant sound effect behind the Legionnaires, and then all white. Yeah, this hair. I hate this Dream Girl hair. I don't
know. It looks kind of cool to me in this one panel because he has like Wolverine hair almost. But I overall agree with you about the hair. It's pretty goofy, but like I said, I think she had it done for the wedding.
Could be. And then this page has a big dick on it.
Whoa.
On my monitor, it definitely looks, this magenta looks like Caucasian color, but it's actually kind of more pink in reality.
Oh boy.
And here's, this is Beast Boy, has showed up as a green bird.
Oh yeah.
But it's actually Chameleon Boy. He's gotten a time bubble or something to go back in time.
I guess he's there to get them back, right? Because they're stuck. But it is weird. Like, he shows up right when they take off.
Yeah, he misses all the fun.
Yeah, his own people.
Right. He could have met some ancient Durlans from 3,000 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I like how Professor Huxton is like giving him the peace sign in this panel.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it says Professor Huxton helped out the Legion in their first fight with Universa. So he is a throwback Adventure Comics guy. I wonder how close he looks to the original.
Probably dead on, right? That even looks like a Kurt Swan drawing there. Man. Yeah, I just love the way this guy draws faces. I love the way he draws Chameleon Boy here.
Yeah, like the double lighting. He does this thing. He did it earlier on Chameleon Boy where like the under his eyebrow area is colored black. Mm-hmm. Almost as if he's coloring or drawing him to be like shiny or something. Let's see here. You're right. Yeah, here he's done it again. This unusual double lighting on Chameleon Boy. Dream Girl's like, me for a sonic tub soon as we're home. You suppose she has those ultrasonic cleaners where you put your stuff in it and there's like it vibrates to clean your jewelry and stuff. You suppose that's what she's going to get into?
Do you think Starboy's jealous of it?
Could be, yeah. He's like, I told you to get rid of that sonic tub that vibrates you. Yeah, this is sonic tub, but not an ultrasonic tub, but just a sonic tub. Sound tub shoots sound at her to clean her off.
Yep. Solid castles.
I mean, he's British, right?
Right.
He probably lives next door to a castle. I bet now he owns a castle.
Probably lives in a castle, yeah. Well, it's Watchmen money.
Here's Sunboy with his stupid jaw cast. He's still getting the babes.
Yep.
Like this girl, this backwards Orando girl thinks he looks cute with that on.
Yeah, it probably has better luck because he can't say anything crude.
She says the twinkle in his eye says it all.
Right.
Says something dirty to her, I guess. They do a little roundup of the Legionnaires, and Timberwolf is brooding about...
Still whining.
Yeah. All he does is complain that he got dumped. What a loser.
He used to be the Wolverine of the team, and she took his mojo.
Made him get a Gil Gerard haircut.
It is funny, though. It almost seems intentional. It's almost like Levitz is writing it that way. Like she somehow took his charisma, his mojo with her. Like he was the badass of the team, and now he's just like this boring, sad sack.
Yeah, she took it away, huh? Oh, and this last panel here with Shadowlass and Mon-El, she's like, someday, my sweet, meaning someday they will be married. Mm-hmm. But we know that eventually that they do have some kind of marriage ceremony, but it's fucked up where Mon-El is half dead and she cuts off her finger. That's the someday that they're looking forward to in this panel.
I really like the white ground.
Oh yeah, it's kind of a striking design, isn't it?
It's very effective.
I like these guys with the horns.
Mm-hmm. I always really appreciate when a good cartoonist can make a large crowd of people where they're just sort of Greeking them. You know what I mean? Uh-huh. Like just like if you the further off you get, they're just little like M's or lowercase n's or something. But to do that convincingly is I think difficult.
Yeah, like if you got to do this kind of in between stuff where there's little hints of some heads in between where you stop doing the complete bodies. Right,
and slowly gradate to that.
I guess this is the last page.
Oh yeah.
Here's more of that bubble crowd stuff that you like.
It probably looks better digitally. I feel like it's a little muddy here on the newsprint on this page.
Yeah, the Ben-Day dots kind of like, I wonder if you can recognize any of the people back behind them. Probably not. They're just generic Orando people, huh? Randos.
Did he sneak a naked woman in there?
I don't see one.
No. I made that up. Stop.
Well, I'm going to keep looking in case you're not making it up.
Right.
Like right here.
They're always sneaking stuff in.
And Block is crying. You can get water from a stone.
Yeah, does he sweat like salt or like lumps of rock?
Those little pebbles, the sand comes out of him when he cries.
Right.
I like the sky on this page where it's.
Oh yeah.
It may not show up. All these little lines radiating out are cyan color hold, and then it's yellow. But there's like some kind of like most of the cloud is like really light yellow, and then there's some like, I don't know, kind of swirly stuff that's a little bit darker yellow mixed in.
Right.
Looks pretty cool. Pretty cool effect.
Yeah. So it's not all bad. There's nice things about this book, even if the story's a little silly.
Yeah, it's just kind of simple. Oh, and there's an epilogue. This is just kind of continuing to the next issue where Element Lad and Officer Aaron are on the trail of this imposter legionnaire. We know it to be Shrinking Violet.
And I think they both look cooler than they ever have looked.
Yeah, they look really good.
Like on the bottom anyway. She has like a more distinct nose, and
she's got like a total like Barbra Streisand look.
Right. Man, in some alternate reality, he took over for Giffen instead of LaRock.
Wow, that'd be good. 30 issues by Gibbons.
Yeah.
Like if he hadn't wasted his life on
doing that stupid Watchmen shit.
Yeah.
Waste of time.
he could have been as rich as Greg LaRock is now.
Right. Oh, one last thing. Something we kind of skipped over.
Uh-huh. Let's go back.
Page 14.
What is it?
Kind of similar to the scene where he's pointing out landmarks, like a more like a practical approach to the situation they're in that probably hadn't been applied in the past, like in the Silver Age. Like
they're trying to have Ultra Boy penetrate the time barrier,
right? But his powers are limited. Like he can't go fast enough without burning up.
Yeah, he would need ultra speed and ultra invulnerability to break the time barrier. And his flight ring won't go fast enough.
Not so hot after all, Mr. Third most important guy. But and it's a great drawing of him there in the middle. Like he's burning up there.
Yeah, they should have. I wish they'd have colored it a little bit more. I don't know, drawn some kind of.
Made his skin a little pinker or something.
Fire or something on him. Like he's drawn, like he looks like he's in pain, but the color really would have put it over.
For sure. So, not the greatest issue, but I think it's a fun one shot, and it's a nice break from Levitz's long, never-ending soap opera. It feels more self-contained than most 80s Legion stories.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It's definitely, for an annual. Maybe annuals from this period and like the anniversary issues and the special issues, they tended to be kind of good.
Right. But even after this, though, even the annuals start interconnecting and becoming, because you have all that dark side Validus stuff.
Yeah. Well, see, I'm trying to compare this. Like in my mind, I'm comparing this to the annual number 1.
Yes.
Which
we need to do that.
It's such a good comic. Like there's so much, the story's good. They introduce a ton of new stuff, like foundational type of stuff gets introduced in annual number 1. And then annual number 2 is a little silly and dumb and just like real light reading, you know?
Yeah. Okay.
I see. Yeah, they have a really good illustrator on it.
I think they have a very strong streak of like 5 or 6 annuals in a row that are, I feel, very good in one way or another. Giffen draws 2 or 3 of them. Kurt Swan draws 1. Obviously, Dave Gibbons. It isn't until maybe the 3rd or like the last 2 Baxter annuals aren't that great. The Starfinger one and the subs one.
Yeah, like the
new subs.
Right. Yeah. Is there a number 3, or is there only 2 of these?
I think there's a 3.
I wonder what's in number 3.
I think it must be the Dark Side thing, right? There's 2 Dark Side ones.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, there is.
Like Giffen draws 1, and Kurt Swan draws the other. Though Giffen maybe draws part of it and probably did the breakdowns.
Yeah, I think that's Baxter Annual number 2. Baxter Annual number 1 is it's all Giffen with 4 inkers, maybe. And it's the Who Shot Laurel Kent annual.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and that one's nice, too. I mean, it's fun.
It's pretty good. Yeah.
It's got a lot of talent on it.
Yeah, that's like 5 solid ones in a row. But then, after that, they just kind of turn into like what most other comic annuals are in that period. They're just kind of like second stringers kind of putting them together.
Right. Pretty much the whole time I was reading comics as a kid, almost every annual I picked up. I mean, it was hit or miss. Sometimes they'd be really good because it'd be some new artist is great, but they felt like filler issues and new talent they were putting on them. And more often than not, they kind of stunk. So when I went back and read all these, I was surprised, how many of them have both the writer and regular artist on them. And they're important stories within the continuity of the story. They're not kind of throwaways.
I think outside of Legion, I can't really think of any that had that stuff going for it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And like reading 90s comics, they almost all were just terrible. Like maybe they had the same writer, but maybe not.
Right.
Almost definitely didn't have the same artist from the monthly.
If you're lucky, they did the cover.
Right.
And then on top of that, they all got kind of co-opted by
the summer event, right? Yeah.
Bloodlines and especially in Legion, 9 times out of 10, it didn't make any sense that they were involved at all.
But Bloodlines in particular.
Like, I guess Bloodlines is happening again 1,000 years later. And are we done with the talking part, or do we have to wrap this up somehow?
Yeah, we're done. Legion of Superheroes Annual number 2, not as good as Legion Annual number 1.
Well, we shall see when we cover that.
Oh, okay.
Soon?
Soon?
Yeah.